AVT Productions, in conjunction with Q99.7 Valley Radio, are proud to present the last great tax debate from the Valley Lanes in Wasilla. To tax or not to tax. Here's your hosts, Fred James and Sarah Palin.
Good evening. AVT presents the last great debate. To tax or not to tax? That is the question. I'm Fred James, and this is Sarah Palin.
Thank you, Fred. Tonight, our debate will run as follows. We have two teams of debaters, pro-taxers and anti-taxers, naturally. There are four gentlemen. Each gentleman will begin by having 2 minutes of opening remarks, and then we'll begin a round of rebuttals and counter-rebuttals, which will last no longer than 30 seconds. Fred, would you like to introduce the pro-tax team?
Thank you. The pro-tax team consists of Mayor John Stein and Councilman Nick Carney, who is also president of the Wasilla Refuse Company.
And the anti-tax team is Dave McGraw, a communications specialist for ARCO on the Slope, and Paul Nichols, a barber who owns a shop in Palmer. Fred, if you have a coin, let's flip it and find out which team will begin.
And the flip of the coin, if you'll hold my mic, please.
Thank you.
The pro-tax team has won the coin toss, and they've elected to start. And we'll begin the last great debate right after these messages.
The last great tax debate is brought to you by Century 21 famed Realty, Adam Soin and Vacuum, BC Pawn and Hawk Shop, Alaska Frontier Pawn and Loan, Espresso Cafe, Valley Eye and Contact, and Subway of Wasilla Palmer. And now, back to the last great debate. Here's your hosts, Fred James and Sarah Palin.
Welcome back to the last great debate. The pro-tax team has the floor. Its 2 minutes of opening remarks begins now.
Last September, the city of Wasilla contemplated and completed an inclusive public process to consider the need for a police department and the means to pay for it. The City Council approved and placed on the 1992 city ballot a proposition that reads, quote, "Shall the city of Wasilla be authorized to levy a maximum 2% sales tax and cap the property tax mill rate at 2 mills, and shall the tax first be appropriated to fund a police department and the remaining tax be appropriated through the ordinary public budget process?" That proposition passed by a 6% margin. The City Council and administration offered that in exchange for approval of the 2% sales tax, the city would, 1, establish a police department as described in the council's conceptual design, 2, establish a city property tax cap of 2.0 mills, and 3, fund road paving and other needed public services. Your Wasilla local government has delivered. The 2% sales tax has been implemented. Customers and businesses have worked through the frustrations of paying and collecting the tax. The police department has been established on time and under budget, July 1, 1993. The city property tax was capped and lowered to 2.0 mills from 4.2 mills in 1992. Sales tax revenue has now been approved to help fund the paving of 4 miles of road on 15 different streets. Paving of Peck Street was approved by council just last Monday using sales tax to match state construction money. Other popular city projects have benefited from sales tax, including establishing a parks maintenance program, bicycle path construction, airport improvements, museum addition, handicap facilities, and offsetting of the borough's short funding of library services. The city is fulfilling the expectations of its citizens.
Thank you very much, John. And next, the anti-tax team will be Paul Nichols. Paul?
I'm here to join my voice with others who have spoken against unfair taxes and big government, to debate what these taxes mean to me, a private citizen, a 6-day-a-week working taxpayer, your neighbor. I do not seek any political gains nor political favors. The questions I face tonight are, 1, will the benighted politicians, activist Puritans, armed bureaucrats, and others who seek grants and special privileges increase my taxes 150%? Or B, will my fellow men do the right thing by repealing this unfair tax and return government to its rightful and limited role? Chaos is not the only alternative to these taxes. The government has many emotional tales of impending doom. It says our existence requires government as middlemen, that more bureaus and departments are urgently needed for economic expansion, and that we need police to protect us from our criminally insane selves, the boogeyman, and any number of other potential disasters. I support social and economic freedom in a true market that uses cooperation and persuasion to accomplish its goals. A system with objective laws that uphold justice and inalienable individual rights. These taxes support statism. It's based on compulsory subjective laws and force-backed political policies that invade our private lives. It mandates others be forced to obey ever-expanding bureaucracies, to pay for irrational services only they administer. But these services can be accomplished by the private sector for much less cost and without surrendering our civil liberties.
Thank you. Now, Nick Carney, you have 2 minutes for opening remarks.
We need a tax here that basically is going to be paid by everyone who uses our facilities, not just those people who own property inside the city. The sales tax spreads the burden of taxes from those property owners to everyone who uses the facilities. People that live inside the city, the 4,400 people, pay because they either rent or they own property. People outside pay through the sales tax. They use our facilities. They use our water systems. They use our lights. They use our streets. They use our streets when they're graded. In addition, tourists use them. We get probably an average of $30,000 to $40,000 per month for the tourist season, over and above what the sales tax yields from those people who use it for the rest of the year. We have a few exemptions, but the fact remains that the businessmen have made the investment in this industry, or in this tax. They're set up to collect it. It's going to be expensive to get rid of it, and there's not the controversy that brought along by collecting it that we thought there was going to be.
Thank you very much, Nick Carney. And now we go to the stage of the debate where, no,
Paul gets his 2 minutes.
no, Dave McGraw. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Fred. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all heard the statement, money is the root of all evil. However, I would like to suggest that the free voluntary exchange of money, value for value, from productive citizen to productive citizen, without force or fraud, is the root or foundation of the very best in us. I would submit to you that the true root of monetary evil rests in human attempts to gain unearned value through involuntary exchange. From productive citizen to parasite, either through the use of force or fraud. Wasilla's sales tax is purveyed by practitioners of both force and fraud. Wasilla's practitioners who forcibly extract your money after you have been disarmed by fraudulent political claims. You will hear fraudulent political claims tonight. For example, one fraudulent claim you will hear is that the trillions spent in Washington, billions by Juneau, tens of millions by the borough, and millions by the city of Wasilla were not enough to provide basic government service. Another fraudulent claim you may hear is that, very well, maybe the other governments were irresponsible with your money, but we'll be careful to spend it wisely. We'll spend it only where it's needed. Of course, we needed a 9% raise. Our campaign worker, Jim, needed a job, and our friend Faye needed her cul-de-sac paved. At their worst, these fraudulent claims degenerate into naked threats. We have heard, and you may hear again, that our public servants on the city council will tearfully and reluctantly take you to the cleaners if you do not vote in a politically prescribed fashion. These are public servants with big financial hammers, reminding you that their pet projects will be funded at your expense, one way or another. I hope you'll look beyond the face of their fraud and stand courageous in the face of their pressures and threats. Now, more than ever, our growing city's future depends on your farsight and your courage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave McGraw.